Hey everybody, welcome to episode 12. Alright, so our next question involves a site, or I guess basically a social platform that is very near and dear to me. It's Reddit. So, Brian, what is this Reddit thing I hear so many people talking about? It seems like a lot of people are finding information, communities, memes, and so much more by just going to this site. I tried visiting the site and became very overwhelmed by the amount of content that was shown to me. Can you break things down so I, a less tech literate person, can understand how to use this site? Sure. So, I am a huge fan of Reddit. I love everything about that site. I love just how communities are built and just what it's done as a source of information, community building, memes, and everything else. So let me kind of break it down what Reddit started as, and then we can go from there. So way back in time, I want to say like 2004-ish, there was a site called Dig, and you basically could submit your links to this site, and people could vote positively or negatively. Basically, a thumbs up, a thumbs down. And as things got more and more thumbs up, they would become more popular, and that would cause them to be more visible to everybody on there. So that was a site that did pretty well for its time, but it kind of ran out of steam at one point. I don't know the exact specifics, but I thought it was a neat concept. And then came along a site called Reddit, and it was very similar in the idea where you could, upvote, where you thumbs up, vote down, or downvote things, and that determined how likely something was to appear on the front page. So what you would end up doing, or what Reddit does, is first off, you can build something called a subreddit. This is kind of like a small community, and anybody can build one. A lot of the popular ones have grown in size. Think of it kind of like how a social network, you can make like a fan page almost for items. Kind of like that. Not exactly, but it has some rhyming tendencies with it. So you could make a subreddit. So I could make one that is, let's say I wanted to make one for, let's say, Brian's tech advice. And I could make a community. Brian's tech advice might be a bad one. Let's say I wanted to make a subreddit for pictures of adorable kittens. And the whole point of that subreddit is it can really be whatever I want it to be. But the main idea is I would want to find some sort of theme so people could join and we could all share images of cute kittens. And, we would. And if I saw a picture that I really liked and I thought it was adorable, I would vote upwards. If I saw, let's say, somebody posted a picture of a dog or maybe an ugly cat, which I'm not sure there are any ugly cats, but we use as an example, people could downvote or thumbs down it so that it would be less likely to show up. And then what you can do is not only can you just submit links and pictures and things like that, you can also just submit text-based posts. Kind of like on Facebook, how you can submit an image, a link, a video, a text post, all these different things, and then people can actually add comments and, add things to any of those types of submissions. Now here's where things also get interesting. The comments that are inside of Reddit can also get thumbs up or thumbs down. So the community really dictates what happens on how popular an entry is, a video, a picture, a text post, anything like that. But then the comments that are part of that submission also follow this kind of like democratic process, where the more things get voted up, the more likely they are to appear towards the top as top comments. So you have this whole thing where, people can upvote and downvote things to base, which things show up. And what's really neat with Reddit, too, is when you have an account, you can go after something called karma, which is basically as you receive upvotes for items, your user account gains these imaginary internet points. Some people obsess over them. Karma is also a nice way if somebody wants to check out your profile to see how legit of a user you may be or how trustworthy or anything like that. They can see how much of this karma you have accumulated through the site. So it's kind of like gamified, where you have like a high score that you can strive towards. So when you go to Reddit, you're actually being exposed to a very large number of subreddit communities. And the front page is this weird algorithm that just grabs a bunch of the top performing links from each one. And you can look at new items, you can look at top items in the last 24 hours, the last week, the last month, the last year. You can look at all time. So you can kind of like archive to see which are the most popular activities within each subreddit. So anybody can create a subreddit. There's a lot of well-established ones that do some really cool stuff, like a technology page. There is a page dedicated to cuteness. It's like AWWW, like awe, and that allows you to look at cute pictures of that. Let's say that you are a fan of, vintage cars. There's most likely a subreddit just for vintage cars where you can find pictures and things like that. So on Facebook, when you sign in, you're kind of exposed to anybody you've made a connection with. On Reddit, when you sign in, you're just exposed to the subreddits that you subscribe to. And it's a list. You can add things, you can remove things, you can join a community, you can leave a community, you can do a lot of different things with it. But I really recommend giving it a try. And, just kind of browse through, look to see what the subreddit is. It will be denoted by a /r/ and then the name. And it's just a good way, for people to build communities and build a platform where they can interact. And I think the best thing that we can kind of equate it to is, if you remember back 10 years ago, message forums used to be all the rage. The problem is you had to create an account for every single message forum or every site or every organization or everything that you wanted to be a part of. Now, you can use Reddit as a platform for your site or your fan club or your organization or whatever to just be open to these types of conversations and pieces of information that are being used. And I think it's a great way to build a community. I do have to warn you, on Reddit there are some inappropriate items, subreddits, communities, and things like that, which you browse at your own risk. Most of them are denoted with an NSFW, not safe for work, maybe not safe for your tastes, but it's kind of like a nice way for you to choose whether or not you want to start looking at different types of content. That's a good way to kind of red flag things as, hey, this may not be an appropriate thing to browse in public or at work or anywhere else or in school or, yeah. In addition, the Reddit website, there's also applications you can install on your phone that allow you to browse Reddit as well. Reddit has its own native app, which I've heard is pretty good, and then there's a bunch of other apps that exist that also enable you to browse Reddit, and they're usually free of cost. They may have advertisements in them, stuff like that, but I honestly think it's kind of worth it for just free exposure to entertainment, information, all these different things. I can actually bring up my favorable subreddits, things that I think will be at least interesting by some of my viewers. Ask Reddit is where anybody can post a topic. They can ask any question that they want. I'm on the Bitcoin subreddit. I don't recommend that unless you're interested. Legal advice has been a great one. There's a subreddit for Magic the Gathering, a card game that I play extensively. There's one for science. There's one for technology. And there's not just one. There's anybody can make a community. You could make a technology subreddit and you could have a focus on futuristic technology or old school technology or anything else like that. So there's a lot of different things. Let me just see if I can bring up a few other of these ones. Usually you will have them default built into your account, like automatically subscribed, but let's see. Uplifting news is just an area that has just awesome, happy and progressive news towards, the world, people's lives being saved, donations, charity, all these different things. There's a gaming subreddit, a GIF subreddit for GIFs, like for people who can post like animated pictures. They're usually kind of funny or interesting to some way. Let's see what else. Like I said, technology. There's even some ones like, I'm a fan of the TV show Futurama, so there's a subreddit for that where people always, make memes or make content or artwork or just discuss things. And it's just a great thing. So if you want to get involved, first thing I'd recommend doing, go to the site, browse around for a couple hours, see what's out there, see what exists. There's something called the front page where you can just kind of look around, just get an idea of like what's going on. When you feel comfortable, make an account, and then you can start customizing which subreddits you'd like to subscribe to or add to your subscriptions. And then from there, you just kind of move forward and kind of play around with stuff. If you're going to be commenting or participating or submitting links, I would make sure that you just approach very cautiously. A lot of subreddits will have their own guidelines and rules about that, so you just want to make sure you read through, you're following everything. It's all just very, you're playing fair according to their rules. And if you don't like a subreddit, what they're doing, you could always make your own. So hopefully this kind of explains Reddit in a nutshell. It's a wonderful site, and it's just got some really neat stuff on there. So give it a try it out. Again, worst case scenario, you just delete your account or just never sign in again and stop visiting it. So there's no real consequence for just signing up and seeing where things go. So hope to see you on Reddit.